I'm pretty sure this movie came out the same weekend as Barbie and Oppenheimer, plus it only got a limited release. Give me an example of a movie that was more set up for failure. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Josh, and today we're going to be talking about Cobweb. This actually came out about a month ago, but I was unable to see it because it wasn't playing anywhere near me. This is a horror film. It is the directorial debut of Samuel Bodine. Essentially, we've got this young kid, Peter, who is bullied at school. He doesn't have a great home life, and eventually he starts hearing sounds coming from within his bedroom walls. His parents, played by Anthony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan, seem to know more than they're letting on, and for a long time this movie is just this slow-building, atmospheric mystery of Peter trying to discover what exactly is the reason behind the noises he's hearing in his walls. Admittedly, the first 45 minutes or so of this film had me pretty engaged when it was just a mystery that's trying to build suspense and build intrigue as to what the solution to this mystery is. Generally speaking, I think it's pretty well shot. I like the cinematography and the color grading. It also has a pretty solid soundtrack, and it takes place during Halloween, so you do have that fall vibe that doesn't really fit with when this movie came out in mid-July. But as far as atmosphere goes, I think they did a pretty decent job here. Also, I want to point out that Anthony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan are both really good. They deliver solid performances here as just these really creepy, bizarre parents that have all kinds of weird mannerisms that throw you off. Unfortunately, there's a point in this film where it sort of shifts gears and gives you a couple of reveals. I've seen a lot of people comparing this to something along the lines of last year's Barbarian or even Malignant, where there's a super big plot twist that changes things and the way you see the rest of the film. I don't think those comparisons are very fair, and it's really difficult to talk about it without spoiling essentially the twists and turns that this movie takes. And you know what? I might as well just do that. So I'm going to give my rating in a few minutes, and then I'm going to talk spoilers for a few minutes for those of you who have either seen the film already or just don't care about being spoiled. But for the sake of keeping things spoiler-free for now, essentially the movie devolves into a generic jump scare fest monster movie type thing. It's nowhere near as clever or unpredictable as it seems to think it is. It's also just not scary in the slightest, and that's a problem when this is essentially being billed as a straight-up horror film. The creature effects were also shockingly bad at times. I mean, there's a close-up here that was, I believe, at least had some elements of CGI in it, and it looked pretty awful. It's a shame because there was a really interesting setup here, and I even think there's one twist in the movie that actually kind of shocked me. I was just like, whoa, that just happened. But then it just evolves into utter nonsense, riddled with plot holes, and the ending feels extremely abrupt. Like, I appreciate that this movie is only 90 minutes and doesn't try to outstay its welcome, but I felt very unfulfilled by where it leaves things. It sort of feels like the writers didn't know how to end the film, so they just kind of gave up and opted not to give us any closure at all. So on the filmmaking side of things, I think there's potential for Samuel Bodine in the future, but this was a pretty big dud, so I'm going to give Cobweb 2 out of 5 stars. Now let's get onto the spoilers real quick. So eventually we learn that the noises coming from Peter's bedroom walls are actually his older sister, who was imprisoned inside the walls by their parents. I guess she was just so hideous as a child that they decided they wanted to lock her away as opposed to exposing society to her. Doesn't really make much sense at all. Like, if they're that psychopathic, why wouldn't they just kill her? And why did they think that Peter would never discover her existence? I mean, she's literally able to crawl around through the walls around the entire house somehow. That's never really fully explained. Also, when Peter breaks her out, she has like superhuman strength, can crawl on walls like a spider and do all sorts of other crazy stuff. So why couldn't she just break out of the walls herself? Why did she need Peter to go unlock the door? Maybe I am nitpicking a little bit, but there's just the list of plot holes here is too long for me to be able to suspend disbelief and enjoy this for what it's trying to be. Again, this movie had a pretty solid setup, but when a film leaves you on a sour note, that tends to be the thing you remember, not the 45 minutes of slow building suspense that precedes it. So there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts on Cobweb. If you've seen the film, be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think of it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for checking this out.